Most world records in Mario Kart Wii use one of 3 vehicles. I know almost everyone watching already knows what the vehicles are like, but for the sake of the video, I'll quickly describe each vehicle. First is the Mach Bike. The Mach Bike is a medium weight vehicle that has a high drift stat, notable speed stat, and a high mini turbo stat, but lacks everything else. The bike is useful for tracks with tight turns like DK Mountain or DK's Jungle Parkway. Next is the Spear, which is the exact opposite of the Mach Bike. It has blistering speed but a lackluster drift, and also has a notable acceleration stat that is higher than both the Mach Bike and the Flame Runner. It also has a very poor mini turbo stat, which further worsens its performance on tracks with many turns. Lastly, we have the Flame Runner, the middle ground between the two. Most records in the game are set with this vehicle, as it's faster than the Mach Bike, has good drift, good mini turbo, and weight, which are unarguably the 4 most important stat categories. All of these bikes have one thing in common: inside drift. There are 9 inside drift vehicles, and all of them, except for the Jet Bubble, have set a world record. But how? Well, it's usually because of track-specific exceptions or glitches. The Magic Cruiser's off-road stat is helpful on Sherbert The Quacker's abilities are surprisingly helpful on the Mushroom Gorge glitch and Grumble Volcano glitch. The Bullet Bike was helpful for players that were attempting the BC3 glitch for the first time, and in 2009 claimed its only world record that lasted for less than a day. The Dolphin Dasher, with a stroke of sheer luck, managed to hold on to the world record for the Mushroom Gorge glitch for about a day until it was beat by a Mach Bike time. So that leaves one vehicle, the Sneakster. The Sneakster is an odd vehicle. Most similar to the Spear, the Sneakster has blistering speed, but is counterbalanced with poor drift and mini turbo. The best way to describe it is a watered-down Spear. This makes getting a world record with the Sneakster a difficult challenge, since it is almost always overshadowed by the Spear or the Flame Runner. However, in 2011, Japanese player M set the no glitch record on Mushroom Gorge using the Sneakster. So how did he do it? There was no glitch or strategy to exploit, but it happened, and it lasted for an impressive 87 days. So what allowed this to happen? Why Mushroom Gorge? How did M pull it off? Well, sit back, relax, and find the answer to these questions. Let's start with the first question. How did it happen? Well, we need to dial back our clocks to answer that. To 2008. In April of 2008, Mario Kart Wii released, and time trials quickly took off. Mushroom Gorge, unlike what it is today, was a spear track. For about 11 months from May of 2008 to April of 2009, Mushroom Gorge was spear dominated. That was until the Flame Runner regained dominance in April, and the spear never held a world record on Mushroom Gorge ever again. The Flame Runner ultimately was faster at the end of the day, and the spear just couldn't keep up. It's still very notable that it could at least compete despite its shortcomings. Looking at the old record, the spear's lack of drift is apparent. It constantly had to take turns significantly wider than turns we see today. If only the spear had better drift, then maybe it could have held on to a world record past 2009. Well, what are the chances? As it turns out, the Sneakster is the perfect vehicle for this strange scenario. Its speed, while not as blistering as the Spear, is still faster than the Flame Runner. Its drift, while still lackluster, is just good enough so that it doesn't have to compensate on turns like the Spear does. The stars aligned on Mushroom Gorge for the Sneakster to sneak in a world record onto the leaderboard. So why Mushroom Gorge? Well, the answer is simple. None of its turns are very tight. The Flame Runner never had to go extra wide for turns like the Spear did. In fact, the Spear is the only vehicle that needs to compensate for turns. The Flame Runner sometimes even needs to soft drift turns, and can squeeze out a slip drift on the cave turn. 2 things the Sneakster cannot do. The Sneakster can't do these strategies, so overall it is slower than the Flame Runner. But times were different back in 2011, and records were a lot less refined than today. Although the Flame Runner was theoretically faster, the Sneakster could still yield a time that was faster than the current record. This is what makes M's record so incredible. He used a slower vehicle for the track and still got a faster time. So enough talking about the run, let's go ahead and look at it. His strategy never changes between laps, so we'll only analyze one lap to avoid monotony. His best lap is lap 2, so we'll look at that one. Starting off, M starts a wheelie coming out of the gap jump. Already, he is off to an advantageous start. The Sneakster's speed makes it excel on straightaways, so this is one of the few points in the run that he will gain large amounts of time over the Flame Runner. At the end of the straightaway, we arrive at the first turn. M's strategy is very different from the Flame Runner's strategy. The Flame Runner would get a slip drift and get 2 mini turbos. Unfortunately for M, this strategy can't be done with the Sneakster because of its poor drift. Instead, M gets one mini turbo and realigns with the next bend towards the next boost pan. This strategy was used in 2008 and 2009 with the Spear, and is still pretty fast, although it loses time to the Flame Runner strategy. Moving on to the next part of the track, it is largely similar to the Flame Runner record with only a few slight altercations. He did not do a drift trick on the second mushroom section, which I found a little odd. To my surprise though, the Flame Runner records before him opted for the same exact strategy. Entering the cave, the next strategy altercation rears its head. There is no double mini turbo. It doesn't do it for two reasons. One, the Sneakster has bad mini turbo. This makes the payoff for successfully pulling it off low, and failing it has detrimental results since it will swing you out wide. Two, slip drifts, chain drifts in particular, swing you slightly out wide. This isn't really a problem on the Flame Runner since you can just drift back inside. The Sneakster can't do that because, well, it's the Sneakster. So overall, M loses time on this turn. Well, on lap 2 at least. Holding one mini turbo doesn't always lose time. For example, let's look at the lap 3 of the record set by Kiki before M's record. He misses the slip drift. It doesn't look like it loses too much time, but it is slower than holding one mini turbo throughout the whole turn. I know this from experience. So although M's Sneakster strategy of holding one mini turbo is slower than the Flame Runner, it's more consistent. Moving on to the third mushroom section, his strategy is almost the exact same as the Flame Runner run. He does not get a drift trick onto the green mushroom, which is something the Flame Runner run did. Honestly though, it's probably just personal strategy preference, not because he's on the Sneakster. The rest of the run is the exact same as the Flame Runner's run. Although I must say his gap jumps are incredibly impressive. Compared to the previous record held by Kiki, M cuts off significantly more of the gap, especially on lap 3. I mean, just look at this. It's incredible. And there you have it. That's M's record. Certainly impressive. One for the history books, without a doubt. Mushroom Gorge was the perfect track. The Sneakster was the perfect vehicle. And M was the perfect player to take up the difficult task. And he will go down in the Mario Kart history books as a legend. Thanks for watching. Wait! Video's not over. If you watched all the way to the end, please consider subscribing. This video took me forever to make, so any bit of support means a lot. Also, if I missed something in the video, or you just have a lot of knowledge about the run, feel free to drop it in the comments. I also totally forgot to give video credit to the 2 records that weren't M's. And if you're looking for the world records that I talked about and showed in the video, then the links to them are in the description. Also, big announcement right here. Fun rooms are happening this Sunday, 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you can come. And as always, small fries, stay safe, stay cute, stay loyal, because I already know you are, and goodbye.